Okay, we're live on Facebook. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sandra Sheffer, President, Democratic Women's Club of Greater Broward. This is our first episode during Black History Month, and so we're gonna have the Black History edition. We're gonna have the Black Business Corner. We have two entrepreneurs. Well, we actually have three entrepreneurs here because Dr. Sabrina is an entrepreneur also, and we have the two Danielles, right? That's gonna we're showcasing their business, and we're gonna talk about mental health because we're still dealing with COVID, and it's an issue in our community. We're gonna talk about what's happening with the Biden-Harris administration. They finally started confirming his secretary, members of his cabinet. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. I'm gonna send it off to my co-host Narnique Pierre Grant, community activist, former candidate for Broward County School Board. We're going to try to get her to run again in 2022. Okay. All right. So Sandra Sheffer, President of Democratic Women's Club, and one of the hosts of Race and the Races. All right, Narnique, it's on you now.
All right. It is Black History Month. And for commemoration of Black History Month, I have my Black Panther shirt on. Yes.
Oh, condo. Forever.
Next week I'll have something, another one with, just highlighting us.
Yes,
Although I highlight us 365, 24/7, but this month, this month is special. So, we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. So, that we have a new president, new administration, and with that came a couple of new positions. Not new positions, but new people, and there are Black people, and these are the first of the first. There's a few of us, and we have some honorable mentions, right? So I'm going to give it back to Sandra. Oh, well, before we do, we have to introduce our guests, right?
Yes.
You got to introduce our guests. So we have two of entrepreneurial, wonderful, young, gifted in Black, beautiful ladies, both named Danielle, but they'll both introduce themselves. And we'll know the difference between the two Danielles once they come on. And then we have the comparable Dr. Thomas, we are excited to get into about mental health. And it's very, very important that we do talk about that, especially in the Black community. So we're so excited. This whole panel is amazing. Look at all these beautiful beautiful women on Black History Month. Y'all looking good. So we'll start with the first Danielle. We'll go with Danielle Gordon, and then we'll head on to Ms. Thompson, and then we're going to go to Dr. Thomas to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I am Danielle Gordon, co-founder of YGB Collective. I am an interior designer. I'm a dancer. I'm a sister, a daughter. I love all things creative. I love to paint. I've got too many hobbies, but YGB Collective is my baby, and I'm super excited to get to share what our mission and goals are with you.
And hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Thompson, the other half of YGB Collective. I am a mother, a sister, a daughter. I am a small business owner and an entrepreneur. YGB Collective is one of the best parts of my everyday life, and I'm so excited that we get to share it with you today.
Your turn, Dr. Thomas.
Okay, hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Thomas. I am an educational counselor. During the day, I work at a public high school as a school counselor. And in the evening, I too am an entrepreneur. I am the sole proprietor of Embrace Child Counseling Services, where I do serve children ages ranging from 4 to 21. And I must say this bullet, to God be the glory. I have actually reached the maximum number of clients for Embrace Child Counseling. And right now I can no longer take any more clients on because I'm absolutely booked. So thank you.
That is amazing, Dr. Thomas. Yes, booked and busy. All right. We're gonna go ahead and move on. And as we mentioned, we're gonna talk about some of the appointees and some who are waiting to be confirmed in the Biden administration. So Sandra, I'm gonna let you go ahead and do the first three that I sent to you.
So I don't know what order you sent them in, because
I sent them to you in order of importance, which is the VP, the Army General, and then Michael Ryan. And then I'll do the last three.
Oh, okay. All right. So she wanted me to talk about VP Harris. So, we have like a lot.
You know her better than I do.
I don't know about knowing her but better than you do or anything like that. But, yes. So we really have, after being in that abusive relationship from 2016 to 2020, we're literally in a situation where there's a breath of fresh air. We're seeing things happen. I feel the change, even though there's still a level of stress and anxiety that's going on, part of it because of what happened on January the 6th and everything like that. But I have to tell you that January 20th, that inauguration day, that was one of the best days that I've had in a very long time. I think they should have had the fashion police out there or something like that, because they were killing the game with the clothes. Even though there was more serious and historic things that were happening, it was still awesome to have joy in just the clothes and in the way that they were dressed. It's just the whole day was beautiful. We got a 6-minute poem that changed all of our lives, right? Just that 6-minute poem. All of it was just super amazing. What is the hill we climb? That Amanda, said. It was just a beautiful day. And just like it's only been we're starting week 3, isn't it? It's the second week of the administration, and we can see the changes. He had to, Biden has had to sign a lot of executive orders to undo a lot of the madness that was going on. But at least, I think people, there's hope. We're a lot more hopeful, and even if you have criticisms of Joe Biden, we still have to give Mr. Man his props for putting so many people of color and having a very diverse administration, right? Because it was a bold move to put Kamala Harris on that ticket. As much as women of color, we do a lot. We save folks from themselves all the time, but he still could have taken an easier route, and put somebody else on the ticket, and we would have voted for that somebody else anyway, just because the person we had before was so bad. Because I've been on the record saying that I would have voted for a Muppet, over the administration.
I thought I was going to vote for a pencil. I would have voted.
I would have voted for Miss Piggy, Kermit the Frog, whoever. To get rid of what we had happening there. So the fact that and a lot of us felt that way. So the fact that he was despite the fact that people would have really voted for anybody but him, we're very proud of the president of putting VP Kamala Harris on that ticket. Even though, we're not going to get into who thought that she's their first choice, no choice, but she is who we have. She started, she's an attorney. She was the state attorney in San Francisco. I think they called it district attorney at the time, one of the first Black females to do it. She was the first Black female attorney general of California. And she's the second Black female to go to the Senate, because we had Carol Moseley Braun from the state of Illinois. And I think it was in the 80s or 90s, because I know she was there when I was in college so many years ago. So there was a sister of color in Congress before VP Harris became a senator. And now here she is, the first Black South Asian, Jamaican American, Caribbean. She just killing the game. HBCU graduate. She's a member of the Divine Nine. She just got all of it, right? She just brought all of that Black girl magic just in one person and brought it into the White House. She brought some of that curry, that spice, all of that jerk, all of that into the.
And she know how to cook, child. She know how to cook. Okay.
Yes. So we're happy for that. So we're proud of it. The other thing that was going around is a lot of the young girls are like, my VP looks like me. It's there. We needed to see this happen, and we're so proud of her. And again, we have to stop looking for perfection. We're not going to find it, but he has a good administration. So shout out to Kamala Harris. And then, the other awesome thing about her, we have a tie Senate where it's 50-50. So she's the tiebreaker. So anytime, they can't agree, she gonna come in there and just go ahead and just put the gavel down, and she has the tie-breaking vote. So that makes it even just a little bit more special. So now we just got to pray that none of the old Democrats pass on, at least the ones that live in Republican states. That might not
don't put it in the atmosphere. Don't put it in the atmosphere, girl.
But you know what I'm saying? We don't hope that don't happen. And then today was actually a good day that we're talking about this, because the Army General Lloyd Bentsen, he's the Secretary, I believe, of Defense, first person of color to do it. And there was some concerns about whether or not they were gonna confirmed him because he was supposed to be in civilian life for about 7 years before he got a cabinet seat. He got the waiver and they confirmed him. And you know what he did today? He got rid of all of those appointed people because there's a bunch of Trump folks in there that probably was gonna cause some mess. So he said, just so y'all don't think I'm targeting y'all, I'm gonna just get rid of everybody. Right? We're gonna everybody, and then we're gonna vet them later, and then we'll bring back those that are, because they had Lewandowski up in there, Newt Gingrich, a whole bunch of clowns that were really. And gonna be.
It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful.
He got rid of them. He's like, I'm done. And more than experience, beyond experience, right? And then we have the environmental secretary, which is also a brother. And the first time I saw him, I'm like, yo, he kind of cute, but
very handsome with
it. But it's again, I big shout out to President Biden for making these moves, because a lot of times when we think about an environmental person, a lot of times you don't think of a person of color, even though Van Jones was supposed to be the green czar during the Obama administration. And, people found ways to make him leave that post with a bunch of nonsense. But, Biden was like, I don't care what y'all got to say. I'm going to bring this brother up in here. He's going to run the EPA. He's all into that zero carbon emission and all this,
Well, and just to add on to Mr. Reagan's position, remember that Biden promised to make climate change a priority. That makes the EPA a major player in the new administration. So you have a Black man who is there, he's going to lean upon to make sure that his campaign promises are adhered to. So we're excited about that.
Right. And then, the last dude that was in the White House took us out of the Paris Climate Accord, and, President Biden has put us back in. So he's doing a lot of great things. He's allowing to he's bringing on a lot of people of color. And we know that's important because he gives that person at one position, they're going to bring somebody else in, and it just goes on and on and on. And that's some real trickle down stuff right there, not this crappy trickle down economics that they talk about. You bring someone in and they're going to bring, even if it's just their assistant, their legislative aide, their scheduler, they're going to bring people into the fold in order for them to, see how DC works and also make some contribution, and the voices will be heard in the community. So
all right,
those are the folks.
I'm gonna do the last 3 seats.
You're doing good things.
Just really good with just ad-libbing. I had to write my information down, so I'm gonna be reading from my paperwork. Okay, so Dr. Cecilia Roos, I cannot pronounce her last name. If I'm butchering it, I apologize. But she is the first African-American and the 4th woman to hold the chair position of the Council of Economic Advisor. As chair, she will play a key role in rebuilding the U.S. economy. That's for you ladies, because that comes down to your money, your little trickle down, that comes down to your money, your little coinage, yes. So Dr. Roos is the Dean of the Princeton School of Public and International Affairs. Well, obviously she's no longer because she's doing this chair thing now. Well, can she do both, Sandra? I think she could do both, right?
Probably not.
Probably not. All right.
Yeah, you don't want to have conflicts of interest and stuff like that.
There you go. That's true. Okay. So Dr. Roos is a labor economist, previously served on the Obama administration, the same position, Council of Economics, but she wasn't a chair, from 89 to 99, and during the Clinton administration also. Well, 89 to 99 to the Clinton. So she knows what she's doing. Ohio Representative Fudge. Is it Fudge? Okay, member of the House. She is, well, has she been, we were checking to make sure. Now, is she confirmed as the
So she had her hearings. I think her hearings started last week, and she had one on Thursday. I think she had another one like a couple of days ago, and I haven't seen the numbers for her confirmation unless it happened sometime today, but her confirmation numbers haven't come out yet. But I don't think the issue.
I'm confident she's gonna get it, so I don't see her not getting it. But we're gonna just claim it. That's what we're gonna do. So she is now the Department HUD Secretary. She's a member of the House of the Agriculture Committee and Committee on the Education and Labor. She is a former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and was recently elected on her 7th term in Congress representing the Cleveland area. So whoop whoop for Secretary Fudge. And last but not least, we have Thomas Green. What's her first name? I forgot to put her first name on here, but she is now the ambassador for she was an assistant secretary for Africa during the Obama administration. She has served in the Foreign Service for more than 3 decades. She's the 2nd Black woman to ever hold the post of ambassador, what was it again? I wrote it down and I didn't get it right. what is it? The ambassador for the United Nations. Isn't it the United Nations?
Oh, United Nations.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
It is.
United Nations, United Nations. That's who it is. Okie dokie. So that was our highlights because we're opening up for Black History Month. We got to highlight our Black people. And we're going to go to these young, beautiful women who are entrepreneurs. I'm so excited because you guys have like a boutique thing. And I'm just like excited to talk about what you guys having and how this will work for people in the pandemic. You guys have a unique business. And so let's talk about that. And whoever wants to start.
Like we mentioned before, we are the co-founders of YGB Collective. YGB stands for Young, Gifted, and Black. And Danielle Gordon is a dancer and an interior designer, and I'm a beauty influencer. And so together we curate a bi-monthly membership box. And in this membership box, we have elevated essentials in the beauty, wellness, and lifestyle space. And our ultimate goal is to amplify Black-owned businesses to reach a wider target audience through our growing community.
Yeah, we're bringing Black luxury to conscious consumers. So we all know that Black businesses aren't given the same resources to thrive as their white counterparts. And enter COVID-19 and Black businesses are in a worse position than they were before. So that was kind of the impetus to us creating YGB Collective. We've always been young, gifted, and Black, and I think there was a really strong social awakening in 2020 that gave us the perfect opportunity to share our passion and create this platform for our consumers. Over the course of the company's life, we've delivered 2 boxes now. Our first box was wellness themed, and our first box was self-care themed, and our second box was wellness themed. And we've partnered with 10 different Black-owned businesses between the 2 boxes. Over the course of our year, we'll partner with 20 to 30 different brands. So supporting YGB, you're in turn supporting multiple Black-owned businesses at the same time.
And a little bit more about, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say a little bit more about our box. They do get shipped every other month. So you get 6 boxes a year, and it is $80 per box. And in each box, you'll get 4 to 6 full-sized products. In our last box, we had 7 full-size products. So it's well worth the value, and you're supporting all of these beautiful, beautiful brands.
That is amazing, ladies. So I have a couple of questions. Now you said 6 boxes for the year. The $80, is that once a month, twice a month? How is that again? So we can make sure everybody understands.
The $80 is every other month. So every time you receive a box, you'll get billed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And then you said that your products are from Black-owned businesses, correct? So now it's not just 2 wonderful Black women doing business, but you're also making sure that you highlight other Black-owned businesses and incorporate that in your business model, which is amazing. Tell us a little bit about what the future holds for YGB and how right now with the pandemic, how great it is to start getting items from you, because basically we're mailing everything off. You don't have to come to a store. Just give us a little bit of your outlook on what you guys plan and what your goals are.
So we are currently trying to meet our customers where they are. So everybody's stuck in their homes, but life is going on. So our first box got delivered in November, right before the holidays. We had a lovely, bright candle for those people that are stuck in cold winters to brighten up their mood. We had self-care things because the winter is kind of hard on you, you're stuck inside, you're cold, you want to be outside, you want to be with your friends. So we wanted people to receive our box and be able to take care of themselves. Our second box came right after the new year, where people are setting new goals for themselves. They're trying to really set themselves up to have a successful year. We had a work in progress planner. We had an exercise band. So if you're doing at-home workouts, you have a lovely like tension band that you can put around your legs, and it's really good quality. Like our products, like all of our vendors have really lovely products that unfortunately you just don't find in those big retailers that you're so used to going to. You get ready, you go buy your groceries at the grocery store, you run to Walmart, you run to Target, you run to the mall, but the majority of those vendors are very limited if they're even carrying a Black product line. You have to go to a specific aisle to find the specific like 3 brands that you're used to seeing. Whereas with our box, you're starting to get familiarized with new brands. So this is Red Fox Fitness, like a beautiful package for your exercise brand. Instead of going to Sports Authority or Dick's Sporting Goods, like you now have a new brand that you can shop for your exercise gear. What else? Like our ultimate goal is to help these brands become household names. Like that was the basis of founding YGB, is we want to compete with Crest. We want to compete with Aveeno. We want to compete with those major brands that you're just so used to rolling off your tongue. Like we found trash bags that are Black owned, like Hefty, we're coming for you. Like we want to support those brands and make sure they're reoccurring. Like you're seeing them, you're getting used to the names, you're going to their website instead of these other websites. And we're making it convenient for you. Like we're doing the heavy lifting, we're doing the research, we're talking to the brands, we're sampling their products before we send it to you. Like we want to develop relationships with these brands, so they also say, hey, we just came out with a new product, like we'd love to feature it in your summer box, or Mother's Day is coming up, like we have, I don't know, like flowers that we can send to your mom, like can we partner with you to get into new audiences? Like our target audience is very broad. We're targeting Black people, we're targeting young people, we're targeting older people. And with this membership box model, it's way more convenient than being in a brick and mortar store, because we have the internet at our feet, and we can like kind of target our market depending on what our box is going for. So
that's amazing. I think it's great. I think that I love when you mentioned, Hefty, we're coming for you. It's so important that we support Black-owned businesses. I posted you ladies on the Broward Black-owned business actually Facebook page that has like almost 30,000 people on there. And I encourage you both ladies to join. I know the young ones don't do Facebook, but child, just to get your name in there, I would do that. But there are people who are that was very responsive to it. I just think that you guys have a unique business. And I want to, is that me with the background? Sorry, unique business model. And I really want you guys to take it off the ground. This is like amazing. And I love the fact that you do business with Black-owned businesses and you guys are opening up to everyone. Some people in the chat, this is amazing, love the concept. Tell people how they can reach you, your website address, your social media platforms, all of that great information.
I did have a question before you went into that. So is it a subscription model? So if somebody wanted a box, do they have to get a subscription and it's an automatic bill monthly, or they just contact you and then decide if they want one for that month and not want it for another? Is it a subscription with like an automatic payment? How's that set up?
It is a subscription model. We like to call them membership boxes though, rather than a subscription box. But yeah, so we have a yearly subscription up on our website, and you can purchase the yearly subscription where you'll get charged one time for the whole year. And with that subscription, you get free shipping. Or you could get a bi-monthly membership, which is the $80 billed every month plus shipping.
Okay. And I have another question. So like, what if a Black-owned company wanted to, do you allow companies to pitch their products to you, or do you seek out the companies that you want to include in the box?
Yeah, we've had tons of companies reach out to us via our website, via Instagram, that see our brand and they say, hey, like, we want to be a part of your box. Like, we want to reach your market as well. Like, how do we partner? We've actually found a couple really cool brands that way.
Yeah. We also allow like our community. We love when our community finds a new brand they're excited about, interested, would love for us to work with. And so that's how we found a few of our brands as well.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. So there's next week, we're actually going to have, I believe it's next week that Tangela Amos is coming. They own a Black-owned detergent company. Like they do like laundry detergent, and that's called True Detergent, you know, and so she'll be on next week. We're highlighting her like next week. So, you know, if one of those times y'all have like a get your house clean box or something like that, you know, maybe we could y'all can reach out to her and you guys can talk and see if her product will fit in what it is that you.
So just to be clear, your website is ygBcollective.com.
Yes, and all of our socials, our Facebook, our LinkedIn, our Instagram is all at YGB Collective.
Okay, and so I'm putting that in the chat, and I'm also going to put that on Facebook so people can see. And ladies, what for both of you, if you can, and I'm going to give you each a minute or two to say this. What inspires you guys the most, especially now in Black History Month, and what keeps you guys focused and driven on your business?
I'll go first. So I have a 5-year-old daughter, and like you guys were saying before, with Kamala Harris in the White House, she was one of those little girls who was sitting in front of the TV and said, "This woman looks like me." And this is the first generation, like our generation never saw that. And so this is the first generation who will be able to see that Black women, Black people in general are just as amazing, if not, you know, more amazing. And so just the ability to highlight all of these brands who are doing exactly what our white counterparts are doing, but sometimes we just are not able, we don't have the platform, we don't have the funds, we don't have all of that. So just to be able to have a platform for all of these beautiful businesses and show my daughter that, you know, all of these brands are made by people like us and they're beautiful products and we all need to see them. We all need to share them.
Yeah, one of our mottos is that Black is luxury and Black is not a trend, that Black is absolutely essential. So just like honing those 3 things into our community members is super important to us. We host virtual events where people can interact with the creators of these beautiful products. Before our launch of our first box, we had a virtual happy hour every week where we got to just like chat with other Black entrepreneurs, and it was great. Like we've actually made a couple really good friends that we stay in touch with, and it's so nice to be able to just like show that we're human. Like there was a social awakening in 2020, but Black people have been around since the dawn of time. You go to some of these huge stores and you're almost bombarded with the amount of Black faces that you're now seeing that you're not used to seeing. And like I walk around and I kind of feel uncomfortable. I'm like, Black people didn't just like pop up and say, hey, like use me in your advertising now. Like we've been here forever. To see Pantene now starting to make shampoos and conditioners for curly hair, and like all of these major brands that are now trying to pivot and say, oh, right, we want the Black dollar. Oh, right. Like you guys matter too. Like that is what YGB really is like I'm almost upset it took us this long to launch our brand, but we've been Black our entire lives. And Danielle and I both grew up in very white neighborhoods and went to white schools where, like for me, if I went to a sleepover, I'd have to bring my own hair products. I'd have to bring my own things to make sure that I was taken care of. Whereas like I've had friends use my hair products and it's fine. Like they'll ask me for recommendations. Like I have a friend with curly hair and she's like, wait a second, like this is way better than the stuff that I've been using. So like, give me a recommendation as to what you're using in your hair, what you're using on your skin. So it's really nice to be able to share these beautiful brands that we've discovered and that we know and love with our friends, our family, our coworkers, our community.
Amazing, ladies. That's right. We always been here, child.
But I did want to say one thing, and you mentioned that Pantene started, making products for people of color because they wanted to get the black dollars, right? Well, they were always getting the black dollars. We were just buying products that weren't good for us, right? Because we were still using Head and Shoulders, and we were still giving them money. No, really, we were still giving them money, buying products that was like stripping all the oil out of our hair and drying out our skin, right? But then when people came into the space with the shea butter, and some of the African countries and the other consumers started making products specifically for people of color, they're like, oh, wait, they're about to take some of our market share. We better start making some products for curly hair. And that's really what that was. But they had us buying stuff we had no business using.
Right.
A very long time.
And so YGB's Collective is coming and saying, we're going to take all your market share because we're not doing it all alone. We're doing it together. And that's what I love. I love us to become unity. I love this unity. I love what you guys are doing. It's so important that we support businesses like yours, and we appreciate you all coming here and you're just, being vulnerable with us and telling us about your business. We are excited for you. I know I told Sandra about the stuff I opened, the friend that I opened the box with, that was Sandra. And so we're very excited. We're going to be pushing for your business. Every so often, I'll make sure to highlight you guys, especially this month. And so I'm just looking forward to your company flourishing and you guys blowing it out the box. And if you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome. But we're going to shift gears and go into talking to Dr. Sabrina, and Sandra will take us on through that. And we are looking forward to what Dr. Thomas has to tell us, as I'm so excited to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, thank you. I am going to go ahead and get that subscription because I think I wanted more than probably everything that was in Nornique's box, but she didn't agree to give me everything. She did agree to give me like a couple of the things in there. So I'm going to have to just go on and get my own box.
Right. Okay.
I suppose just about everything. Thank you, ladies, for the great work that you're doing. And it's definitely necessary. So we're going to talk to a whole nother entrepreneur that's in a very different space that told us about how she can't even take on no more clients now because, and that's a good and a bad thing. So it's a good thing from a professional side for her is that, she's, can't take any more clients. But it's a bad thing in the sense that means that we have young folks that are dealing with, mental health issues and depression and anxiety and all of those different types of things. And, we usually, the show, we usually keep it real political. But this, what Dr. Sabrina is going to talk about, it does fall into this political space because I think I really do believe that part of the depression and anxiety and the stress and how long it's taking for this pandemic to kind of fix itself is because of the persons that we had in power that were supposed to be taking care of the people the last, 4 years that didn't do anything that allowed this situation to get so out of hand that, we're being affected by it, right? So Dr. Sabrina is going to talk about what's going on. We're going to focus a lot, on the young people today, since we had the ladies from the Young Gifted and Black Collective, talking to us. We're going to focus on the young folks today and how they're dealing with all the stress and anxiety of what's going on and whether or not they even can process that it's really what's happening in our political scene that's creating a lot of the stress and anxiety that they're feeling right now. All right, take it on, Dr. Sabrina.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the introduction. It's like, wow, okay, let's see if I can jump into this one. You know what, you did say something that I would use to make this transition as far as, yes, it's a blessing as far as my end that I'm so booked with clients, but what does that say when I service young people, that's who I serve, ages 4 through 21, that they're going through, and here's some buzzwords, that depression is high, anxiety is high, trauma is high. And those are some risk factors that can lead to suicide rate. So we've had this happy discussion regarding YGB, but I do want to take a moment for us to really focus in on the plight of particularly our children of color and what they are going through right now in the midst of the COVID pandemic. The suicide rate is so high among our children of color that the CDC has declared it to be possibly the highest, 2020, the highest suicide rate among Blacks in the last decade. That's how high it is. So a couple of things I do want us to, I do want to go over is, as I was saying, the suicide rate in children of color is so high. And across the board, it is the second leading cause of death, next only to vehicular accidental fatalities and among our young individuals. So I cannot stress this enough. Whenever I talk about suicide, especially in particular with our young individuals, I cannot stress it enough that suicide is a behavior that is and can be prevented. And that is what I really want us to walk away from, is how to identify some symptoms. What are some risk factors? What can we do to try to help these young people, especially our Black children? And why in particular, what are some of the factors that's impacting the Black children per se, that it is rising so high among our children of color? So that's a couple of things that I do want to take time to go over. And I did a little research today regarding the age group, and it was disheartened where the research showed, and this is for children of color, the youngest child of color on record for 2020 for committing suicide, age 9. Age 9. Feeling of absolute hopelessness to the point to where they feel they have no other recourse but to take their life. Age 9. And that is in Cook County, which we know is in Illinois. I heard you mention Illinois, Sandra, earlier. Cook County has the youngest on record for our children of color. And a lot of people don't know this about Illinois. Illinois, Cook County is the second largest county in America, second only to Los Angeles, California. Mm-hmm. So Illinois is not some little dot that we have. It's very large. There's a lot of children of color there, and they are just like everyone else being negatively impacted. So what do we know? We know that there's two broad categories that these risk factors can impact our children. It can show up as either physically or it can show up psychologically. And the levels of anxiety, trauma, depression, they come up in areas of stress for our young children. And a lot of times this is also, I try to tell adults, when you think about your own level of stress as an adult and how you as an adult is struggling with managing stress, just imagine someone age 9, a teenager age 16 already going through puberty, and in the midst of that having to deal with the pandemic. Now, I want us to focus in on the 4, according to the American Psychological Association, there's 4 key types of stressors. And in particularly, I analyzed each one of them to see how are they impacting our children of color. So the first one, and during times of COVID pandemic. So the first one, of course, is a significant life change. Here we're talking about major things like births, deaths, illnesses. How many of our young people right now have had to, and I can tell you, just being a school counselor, the number of children that are experiencing illnesses, parental deaths right now, if not their parent, individuals in their family, grandparents. It's bad out here. And then you have catastrophic, that's COVID. COVID all the way is a catastrophic stressor. Daily hassles. Now, here we're talking about definitely key areas unique to our children of color: police violence, racism. These are daily hassles that our children have to endure. And if they don't endure it, they are exposed to it in some way. You have adverse childhood experiences, which is the acronym ACEs. And I encourage anyone to research that, ACES. Adverse childhood experiences. And then, of course, children in low SES, socioeconomic status areas. So those are just daily areas of hassles, if you will, daily hassles that our children of color have to endure that their counterpart may not have to endure, okay? In the midst of COVID-19. Now, last category, ambient. What do we know about the word ambient? When you hear ambient, it's, oh, it's ambience, it's a feeling, it's invisible, right? It's intangible. This would be things, and I heard you, Narnique, mention this earlier, when we're talking about quarantine fatigue. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, it's invisible, it's intangible, it's ambient, but it's things that, again, our children of color are experiencing in the midst of COVID. And then, of course, you have to analyze to what degree are these children having to endure these stressors. Is it acute? Is it one episode? Is it chronic? It's disheartening. Yeah. So next, I want us to talk about how can we know, because mostly everyone is going through this, right? But not everyone is going through those daily hassles, that police violence, that racism. Those are things that's really very unique to our children of color. So how can you tell as a parent that your child may be faced with some of these suicidal risk factors, such as anxiety and depression, trauma, eating habits, right? Something about their behavior is going to change. If they, their eating habit, it could actually become greater. They may start eating more and gorging, or it may lessen and they may start eating fewer food, less food, fewer meals. Their sleeping habits can change. They may become, exhibit low energy levels where they seem as if they're sleepy a lot, lethargic, sluggish. And this is very particular because remember, these are teenagers. So if you got a teenager in your house that's sleeping all day, hello, that's something to be concerned about.
Especially if they weren't playing video games all night.
You have a teenager who's sluggish, dragging their feet all the time, I don't mean like a mood. We're not talking moody. We're talking habits. These are areas of concern. And it's not one in isolation. You have to know your child, the before child, to know something's wrong with my child, right? And then, of course, you have the typical where we see on TV, oh, I have a headache. I can't go to school today. Oh, my stomach hurts. I can't go to school today. Those two are also physical symptoms that a child could be going through anxiety, depression, trauma. So look out for some of those indicators.
You're resonating with a lot of people, Dr. Thomas.
I hope so.
There are some people in the chat who are saying they're dealing with that right now with their students. There's people who are talking about Ambien that you just mentioned, that, that's not a Black diagnosis. There's a lot that's resonate, especially in this time right now. What kind of suggestions can you give for parents?
So that leads me into different types of therapy, right? So of course, I can't sit here in 5 minutes and go through, what took a master's degree to get the different types of therapy. But one of the things definitely in the county that I'm in that I can attest to is there's a mandatory curriculum that's being implemented to help children with social emotional learning skills. So you heard that old saying of IQ versus EQ, intelligence versus emotional quotient of intelligence, right? So one of the areas that I use a lot with my young clients is the acronym CBT. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. It's actually a culmination of things. And that's really what I like about it, because what may work for one child may not work with another child. And I have a plethora, I have an array of different therapeutic tools that I can use under cognitive behavioral therapy. One thing, and it comes under the social emotional SEL curriculum, would be mindfulness. Now, this is a hot word, if you would, mindfulness, but to try to just summarize mindfulness and keep it simple, mindfulness is where I would try to help a young client to become present in the moment, because they tend to become consumed with the what ifs of the world,
right?
And worst case scenarios. Also, in addition to mindfulness, I also like to use positive affirmations to try to take some of those negative thoughts that they're having and see how they can't turn that into more positive thoughts. Okay, self-care, start loving yourself. What can you do to show yourself some love? Take care of yourself. I also like visualization. It's one thing for us to talk it through in a session, but I want them to be able to see it so that they can then leave my office and actually be able to apply it. And then also we have meditation. I heard YGB talking about their kids. And I think I heard her say something about some candles or something in there.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
if not, right. So absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful to have them to try to start relaxation, meditation, even yoga. And actually, as much as I love to exercise now, believe it or not, it started out just me doing 30 minutes of yoga 3 times a week. And I love the movement, I love the stretching, and it just grew from there. So those are some of the key points, Narnique, that and Sandra, that I wanted to make sure that I hit today, because I did want to leave the guests with some strategies that they can implement. And I also wanted to give them some symptoms that they could look for in their own children or family members. And I also want them to I want to ignite some compassion and some understanding about what these young children are being faced with, because we're facing it as adults and we're stressed out. People arguing and cursing each other out in the grocery stores, and it's just crazy out here.
Put your mask on.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I was
out of control.
Yes. And that's us as adults. So imagine the young people, what they're going through, right?
Absolutely.
In the midst of COVID.
In the midst of COVID, yep.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Thomas, you know, in our communities, in our Black communities, for a long time, we stayed away from mental health. We stayed away from counseling. We stayed away from—
I didn't even want to address that, Narnique. That's a whole nother show.
If you could just address it just a little, Dr. Thomas.
I will, but I can do a dissertation on the stigma that we have associated with mental health. For children of color. I keep saying I could write a book. I told my husband and my daughter,
I tell Dr. Thomas, you should.
Some of the stories I hear, I lie to you all. I lie to you not. We're going to pray it away. We're going to shout it away. We're going to voodoo it away. I did it's this one guy, he's a doctor. And he did an entire paper on culturally how people want to use voodoo to help with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not trying to, and I've learned this from my principal about somebody's belief system. Okay, it's hard, and I have a friend, and she and I go back and forth about belief systems. It's hard to change someone's belief system. So I'm not trying to do that. If you want to voodoo something away, that's fine. But guess what? Voodoo and do mental health therapy at the same. Can we do that? Can we please do that? Meanwhile, you got this 9-year-old boy who just committed suicide because he felt just absolutely helpless.
Yeah. It's important. I think it's important that those who are watching the show and who will subsequently watch the show, that mental health is so important, especially in our communities. And we want people to reach out and find resources and find places that they can help their children as well as themselves. I know that the Broward County has a couple of numbers. I think there's 211. And
211. And let's not forget, we say 211, but let's not forget the regular 911. 911. Also, they can still reach out and call me. I can't take any more clients on, but I do have some other colleagues. I can refer them out. What I don't like, and some people suggested I do this, but I just ethically can't do it, is start a waiting list. I refuse. I refuse for someone to call me in distress. And because I want more money, I'm going to put you on a waiting list. I think not. No, ma'am, no, sir. I will refer you out to someone else, but I cannot take on another client right now. When I tell you, it's
a lot.
I had to juggle some appointments to do this tonight, but Sandra, no, I'm never gonna say no. I'm never gonna say no.
We appreciate it. And you mentioned 911. You mentioned 911, Dr. Thomas, and I think Sandra and I have had this conversation a lot. Now it's scary to call 911, right? When you
that's another thing. Don't stop. I told you about police violence. How do you call the people who's supposed to protect you to come into your home and they're helping you?
Yes. It's a whole nother show, but I do want to push the point that we do have resources, which are 211 in Broward County, I believe.
Yes.
You just pick up the phone and dial that number. They can direct you on where you can get mental health services. It's very important. We just saw a clip 2 days or 3 days ago. A friend of mine sent me about a 9-year-old being arrested because her mom called 911 and they pepper sprayed her. And the child was screaming, "I want my daddy, I want my daddy." And they treated her as if she was a grown adult. There was no effort to try to, and they had about three or four police officers for a 9-year-old girl. So it's just a very traumatic time we're living in, especially in the pandemic. And it's really important that we have people like yourself, Dr. Thomas, to kind of just give us an eye opener, maybe just to kind of see what possibilities we can to help us through this hump. As you know, as Sandra mentioned, we had an abusive relationship with the last administration, and we're coming off of that. And you know, as a doctor, coming from an abusive relationship, you have this trauma, you
Yes.
have, you know, this enabling behavior,
Lack of trust.
And so going into that now, we're trying to see the silver lining, but it's just kind of still mucky a little bit. And so it's important that we highlight some of the issues that you talked about, the 4 key stressors: significant life change, catastrophic, daily hassles, and ambient. And I think it's important that everyone research this information, especially those who mentioned in the comments that they're going through it right now. You're not alone. We want you to know that there is resources out there for you. I know, Sandra, do you have a couple of suggestions in terms of resources? Because you really work in that realm as well.
Well, mental health. I mean, I ain't working it, but you know, I know the importance of it. I know the importance of talk therapy and mindfulness and those types of things or whatever.
Well, you're an attorney, and you do have clients that you have to send resources to. So
right. And we don't take any of this lightly, and we understand the importance of all of it. And one of the main reasons why we wanted to bring on, I thought it was a good idea that we bring Dr. Thomas on, was the fact that, you know, because we were in that relationship, you know, that abusive relationship that was stressful, and a lot of people was having feelings that they couldn't explain, you know, just for her to give some validation, like, yup, it's not strange that you feel that way. It's not strange that you're walking around with all this anxiety. It's not strange that that you're tired and depressed and all of those things, because we were in a very tense situation. And then particularly with all of the visuals that we saw, the young ladies from the Young Black Collective was talking about, Young Gifted and Black Collective was talking about how, you know, with the pandemic, you know what I mean, all the things that were going on, people needed to take care of themselves and do self-care. And because we were home, right, you know, you kind of had to figure out, did you really like your spouse, right? Or did you really like your children? You know what I mean? So that was another part of why there was a lot of anxiety and stress and depression, is because now you're stuck in a house with people who you thought you liked, but you liked them because you were away from them. And then now, you know, we're in this house 24/7, and I did.
You gotta figure out if you love that person still.
Yeah, right. And I do family cases. I do the uncontested ones, right? And you know, people have come to realize, you know what, like we good friends, but I don't love you like that. We need to get and that type of thing. And even in that hearing, I had a judge tell me that in terms of like domestic violence cases, they're like through the roof. You know, divorces are through the roof, and then. That unfortunately, because of COVID and people dying and things like that, probate cases are also like, it's nonstop, you know what I mean? And people got to, you know, make a lot of health adjustments. And we just wanted to know, like, with this Black History Month, with this political situation, with COVID, just we want you to take care of yourself, because we need to be here. This is like, you know, we see the light, you know, at the end of the tunnel. It might, you know, it may seem like it's far away, but we want to just let you know that you're not alone in this. Those feelings are real, and the days are brighter. We have an administration that cares. It's not gonna, again, don't seek perfection. It's not gonna be perfect, but at least from what they're doing, they want to at least take the step in the right direction to kind of give people some space to breathe, right? And that's what's important.
It's time to heal. It's time to build the trust. It's time.
Yes.
It is. Dr. Thomas, we want you to send us out and give us your final thoughts and you know, just a good word for those who are listening, who are struggling with this right now, and just give them some word of encouragement, you know.
I just really want us to, as adults, constantly try to put ourselves in the shoes of our young individuals, because just like Sandra was just saying about individuals in their homes that's undergoing domestic violence. Imagine a young child who's being sexually molested in their home, and now they're in quarantine in that home, who's being physically abused, and now they're in quarantine in that home. You talk about a sense of hopelessness. But what I like, and this is where we're going to have trust and faith in our government and in our community, is what we have seen is individuals like yourselves who have come together to feed our community, to clothe our community, to support our community, so that there is hope. We must always, always try to instill hope. And once we can try to hopefully instill hope, the trust should come. The trust should grow in our community, because that is what our president and what our vice president needs to bring this nation together. They need us to trust them, and I do. I trust them.
That was very nice. Sandra, would you want to go?
And again, we usually talk about race and the races and political stuff. So I'm gonna just shout out that there are some elections that are going to be happening March 9th, 2021. City of Miramar have some commission seats. I know Coconut Creek have some commission seats. It's probably a couple. So check with your city, because they may have an election on March the 9th, 2021. Right. And we always talk about down ballot candidates. Pay attention to these people, because those commissioners, they're the ones that's going to fix that pothole on your street, deal with the water situation, make sure that they're not overdeveloping, because, they're in with the, the developers, and they don't care that, now it's going to be too much traffic. You want to make sure they're not going to be building a highway through your development or anything like that, or getting rid of your cul-de-sac by opening up the street. So there's commission races. I at least know it's in my city of Miramar. So March 9th, 2021, do that. I know Coconut Creek, we're going to go out and help Josh Rydell on Saturday. Even with the COVID, we need to make sure we're going to go out there and help him on Saturday. He's running for a commission seat. And
we're going to give him an hour. We're going to give him an hour.
So check your cities to make sure, to find out if there's an election. And you can still request vote by mail ballots for those elections if you're scared to go out, because, that Rona for real, they got to, it's all mutating and doing all kind of stuff, right? So still stay safe. But that's what I want to tell people about, that their election season isn't over, because there are elections in many of the cities in Broward County, March 9th, 2021. Check out your city and see if you're one of them.
Absolutely. We and for our next show coming up, we will have one of the candidates running. This will be a very interesting show. I really
we'll see if they show up. They're running for a seat in Coral Gables. So we,
Coral Gables. Yes,
we believe that you got to be engaged. Our next thing is engagement. You got to be engaged in your community. Yes, who the president is extremely important, but those local officials, they're the ones that's making decisions about your day-to-day life. So we're going to have somebody from the city of Coral running for a seat in Coral Gables.
That's right. Last week, I think Sandra did one from Coconut Creek, and we're just rolling along. So my final thoughts are, I'm just all about Black History Month this month. I'm blackity black today. Although I'm black 365, but we blackity black today, right? So whole month, okay? And I love us. When I say I love us, I love us. What the major reason why Sandra and I started this show is because of Breonna Taylor, because of Floyd, because of, this constant, we're inundated with this. And it's just like, I'm just tired of the consistency of how we are being treated. It's so unbearable. So I just want to be able to have a platform to say how much I love us. We are a great group of great people. We are a great race. And I think that we need to instill that back into us and make sure that we all know that we're great. You know what I mean? And and even though we have these barriers and we have these things that stop us and try to, derail us, but we persevere a lot. We are extremely, we show a lot of restraint, but we are respectful and we show empathy. And I think that it's important that we highlight these things about us. Civically engaged is so important. As you can see, the last 4 years and this election, we are the group that makes the elections. We're the ones that do
it themselves.
Oh, we're the ones, we are always the saviors, and we don't mind doing that because at the end of the day, I've always said this to Sandra and a couple of people I've spoken to, every policy, every piece of legislation that Black people have brought about, everybody benefits from. It's not just us. The whole world benefits from our policies, from our legislations, from every walk of life. So you can't lose with Black people, right? You always win with Black people. That's it. Always winning. And we always are open arms to everybody. So it's important that we continue to tell the young people that are coming up, especially the ones who are in high school, that your voice matters. Your superpower is voting. Your superpower is your voice. You can hold local elected officials accountable. All of these things are within your grasp. So don't sleep on Black people. Don't sleep on us, all right? Because we are what makes America great. Okay, and I'm just going to use that man's information, but we all know that it's all us, okay? And I love us, and I want everybody to know that we can do this together. We have to learn to kind of come together. All other races do it, we can do it too. And wear your mask, please. Do that social distancing, please. We are the ones that are hit hardest with this disease. And it's important that we take care of ourselves until we can get out of this, come out on top. So keep up the good work, Black people. This is our month, Blackity Black all month, although we do it 365, but we're gonna be Blackity Black month, okay?
And just a shout out, Dr. Sabrina one more time. She said, even though she can't take any more people, right? She still wants you to call her if something's going on, right? We rather call her if you got something going on, because she's going to connect you to somebody that's going to make sure you're okay. Right?
Absolutely.
She's
Absolutely.
Busy, but she's not too busy to talk to you and get you to somebody that's going to get you the kind of help that you need. And honor the feelings that you have, because it is rough out here. It's stress out here. Even though you may not have something happening right in your face, sometimes just what we're seeing, 9-year-olds getting arrested, finding out 9-year-olds are committing suicide and all of this type of stuff. Whatever that tension it is, it's important. Talk to somebody. Parents, have some designated adult that your kid can talk to, that they can talk to, and make sure the adult is not going to tell you what the kid said. The kid needs to have an adult that they can trust and tell whatever they want to tell without getting in trouble with their parents, right? Because we want them to be able to speak about this and talk about what's going on and discuss these feelings that you're having. And sisters, make sure you have at least one good girlfriend that you can call and talk to, because we're seeing the light at the end of this. There's a whole bunch of folks that's going to get vaccinated. I'm still deciding, but definitely do it. I'm not mad at you for it. So just, do that so we can start get back to some sense of normalcy. So, but whatever it is that you're feeling, as Dr. Sabrina said, it's a real thing that's going on right now, just because of all of the different stresses and things that we have happening.
And what's Dr. Sabrina's, Dr. Thomas's organization name again?
I think it's Embrace Children Counseling.
Embrace Child Counseling Services.
Child Counseling, sorry.
So if you look up Dr. Thomas, please look her up if you have something, and she can direct you to someone who can help you. We just want to be a conduit to our people, to let them know that you're not alone. All of us are struggling, but listen, we got to get through this together. So, if you're going through a crisis right now, please reach out to Dr. Thomas. She can direct you. Also, you can always dial 211. I'm not going to advocate to dial 911 because I don't feel that it's safe. That's that's my personal opinion, and
I hear you.
My personal thing. So I won't advocate that, but Dr. Thomas is licensed
back and get murdered
by the state of Florida, and she has to say it. So
don't sit back and get murdered and not call 911.
Well, obviously,
because you really need it.
But if there's a mental issue, for me, I wouldn't. But I feel like if it's something dangerous, please don't hesitate to call 911. But with the way the climate it is, for me personally, I'd be a little bit remiss if I said I did. I would do it.
We're gonna have to get Sheriff Tony from BSO to come tell us that we shouldn't be scared to call.
Maybe we should reach out to Sheriff Tony.
BSO cities. I live in the city of Miramar City, so
me too. I got BSO also.
Maybe we could put my phone number, my business number in the chat.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, if you could
say it and tell us your social.
1-866 1-866-985-0751.
Repeat it, Dr. Sabrina.
1-866-985-0751.
All right.
All right. And you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Absolutely.
Embrace.
Dr. Sabrina Thomas.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thomas.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you
It's
so
been a
much.
pleasure.
Come in.
Bye.